Hello, my friends, how are you? I hope all of you are doing great and everything is going well with all of you. Today, I'm here with a new topic. So, here we are going to talk a little bit about behaviorism and then we will get further to free will. So, let's start. First of all, behaviorism. So, the psychologists associated with the school of behaviorism, on the other hand, were reacting in part to the difficulties psychologists encounter when they tried to use introspection to understand behavior. Here, you know what does mean by introspection. Introspection is to study your own behavior, to try to understand your own behavior and its factors. Okay. Behaviorism is a school of psychology that is based on the premise that it is not possible to objectively study the mind, and therefore that psychologists should limit their attention to the study of behavior itself. Evet. Yes. Behaviorists believe that the human mind is a black box into which stimuli are sent and from which responses are received. They argue that there is no point in trying to determine what happens in the box because we can't successfully predict behavior without knowing what happens inside the mind. Furthermore, behaviorists believe that it's possible to develop laws of learning that can explain all behaviors. Okay. The first behaviorist was the American psychologist John B. Watson, who was influenced in large part by the work of Russian psychologist Ivan Pavlov. Ivan Pavlov had discovered that dogs would salivate at the sound of a tone that had previously been associated with the presentation of food. Watson and the other behaviorists began to use these ideas to explain how events that people and other organisms experienced in their environment could produce specific behavior. For example, in Pavlov's research, the stimulus would produce the response of salivation in the dogs. So in this research, Watson found that systematically exposing a child to fearful stimuli in the presence of objects that did not themselves elicit fear could lead the child to respond with the fearful behavior to the presence of the stimulus. Okay, in the best known of the studies, an 8-month-old baby was used as the subject. Here is a summary of the findings, of the conclusions. A boy was placed in the middle of a room. A white laboratory rat was placed near him and he was allowed to play with it. The child showed no fear for the rat at first. In later trials, the researchers made a loud sound behind Albert's back. Albert is the name of the baby. By striking a steel bar with a hammer whenever the baby touched the rat. The baby cried when he heard the noise. After several such pairing of two stimuli, the baby was again shown the rat. Now, however, he cried and tried to move away from the rat. In line with the behaviorist approach, the baby had learned to associate the white rat with the loud noise, resulting in crying. The most famous behaviorist was Bruce Frederick Skinner, who expanded the principles of behaviorism and also brought them to the attention of the public at large. Skinner used the ideas of stimulus and responses, along with the application of rewards or reinforcements, to train pigeons and other animals. And he used the general principles of behaviorism to develop theories about how best to teach children and how to create societies that were peaceful and productive. Skinner even developed a method for studying through thought and feelings using the behaviorist approach. So this was some kind of aspects that I studied about behaviorism. Now let's talk about free will. Here is a question: do we have free will? The behaviorist research program had important implications for the fundamental question about nature and nurture and about free will. In terms of the nature-nurture debate, the behaviorists agreed with the nurture approach, believing that we are shaped exclusively by our environments. They also argued that there is no free will, but rather than that, our behaviors are determined by the events that we have experienced in our past. In short, this approach argues that organisms, including humans, are a lot like puppets in a show who don't realize that other people are controlling them. Furthermore, although we do not cause our own actions, we nevertheless believe that we do because we don't realize all the influences acting on our behavior. So, recent research in psychology has suggested that Skinner and the behaviorists might well have been right, at least in the sense that we overestimate our own free will in responding to the events around us. In one demonstration of the misperception of our own free will, neuroscientists placed their research participants in functional magnetic sources imaging brain scanner while they presented them with a series of letters on a computer screen. The letter on the screen changed every 1/2 second. The participants were asked whenever they decided to press either of two buttons. Then they were asked to indicate which letter was showing on the screen when they decided to press the button. The researchers analyzed the brain images to see if they could predict which of the two buttons the participants were going to press, even before the letter at which he or she or they had indicated the decision to press a button, suggesting that the intention to act occurred in the brain before the research participants became aware of it. The researchers found that the prefrontal cortex region of the brain showed activation that could be used to predict the button press as long as 10 seconds before the participants said that they decided which button to press. Research has found that we are more likely to think that we control our behavior when the desire to act occurs immediately prior to the outcome, when the thought is consistent with the outcome, and when there are no other apparent causes for the behavior. Wenger asked their research participants to control a rapidly moving square along with a computer that was also controlling the square independently. The participants pressed a button to stop the movement. When participants were exposed to words related to the location of the square just before they stopped the movement, they became more likely to think that they controlled the motion, even when it was actually the computer that stopped it. Okay, now Wenger found that participants who had just been exposed to first-person singular pronouns such as I and me were more likely to believe that they controlled their actions than were people who had seen the words computer or God. The idea that we are more likely to take ownership for our actions in some cases than in others is also seen in our attributions for success and failure, because we normally expect that our behaviors will be met with success. When we are successful, we easily believe that the success is the result of our own free will. When an action is met with failure, on the other hand, we are less likely to perceive this outcome as the result of our free will, and we are more likely to blame the outcome on luck or our teacher. So the behaviorists made substantial contributions to psychology by identifying the principles of learning. Although the behaviorists were incorrect in their beliefs that it was not possible to measure thoughts or feelings, their ideas provided new ideas that helped further our understanding regarding the nature-nurture debate, as well as the question of free will. The ideas of behaviorism are fundamental to psychology and have been developed to help us better understand the role of prior experience in a variety of areas of psychology. Here we go. So today we have discussed two of the main topics. One was behaviorism and the other was free will. I hope it was greatly helpful for you. I'll be here again with new topics, and I need appreciation and encouragement from you. If you like to listen to me about psychology, please subscribe my channel and help me in getting further this field of psychology. Thank you for listening to me. Be blessed, hopeful and healthy. Thank you. Bye-bye.